As a kid, watching a little purple dog named Courage save his owners from all the dangers that ventured into their isolated home was fun. As an adult, you realize how ironic the name is, since he seemed scared most of the time, and how unsettling the show is. Each episode brings terrifying new villains with twisted backstories. Today, we dive into 20 episodes of John R. Dilworth's masterfully crafted show, Courage the Cowardly Dog, which we might have missed as a kid. But before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. King Ramses' Curse. The King Ramses' Curse episode is the 13th episode of Season 1, following Shirley the Medium. The show begins with two thieves running away with an ancient slab they stole from a pharaoh's tomb. They hide it near the Bag farmhouse to avoid getting caught with it. As soon as the slab is buried, the atmosphere turns ominous and scary. The next day, Courage finds the ancient slab, with Eustace dismissing it as garbage. However, discovering that the stolen relic is actually worth $1 million, he keeps the relic by his side until he can get the value for it. When the slab is not returned to where it belongs, King Ramses releases a curse upon the Bag family. This episode draws heavily from Egyptian mythology, and the presence of King Ramses is thick with tension and uneasiness. The king has a haunting voice, and visuals make things spookier to another level when mixed with a pulsing soundtrack. The episode also focuses on the elements of greed and recklessness. Eustace did not heed the warning surrounding the ancient slab that ultimately endangered his whole family of 3 plagues. This episode serves as a reminder about not messing with forces beyond human control.
With us!
Courage, help me!
Whoops!
The Demon in the Mattress. Irvin S. Bauer wrote The Demon in the Mattress episode and premiered in Season 1's Episode 7 after the Hothead episode. The episode begins with Muriel complaining about not getting proper sleep on their tattered mattress and wants a new one immediately. The next morning, Eustace discovers an ad in the Nowhere newspaper about one of the softest, smoothest mattresses that can be delivered immediately after purchase. Courage eavesdrops on the phone call and immediately knows something suspicious about this mattress company. The new mattress arrives on a horse carriage, which resembles a carriage from hell, and Courage tries to warn Muriel, but she remains clueless about the dangers that inhabit the mattress. When Muriel rests on the new mattress, the demon that resides in the mattress possesses her, making her aggressive and erratic. It is interesting to note that the room changes into green because of the demon's presence, giving off an unsettling, sinister vibe. Seeing Muriel's possessed condition, Courage and Eustace team up to get rid of the demon through exorcism. The visual of this episode are scary, whether it was the demon's twisted form or falling off Muriel's head from her possessed body, both of which are undoubtedly nightmare-inducing. The episode conveys how temptation makes us vulnerable, making it easier for menacing energies to utilize that weakness for their benefit. Queen of the Black Puddle. The Queen of the Black Puddle episode shows that it is raining in Nowhere, and Courage and Muriel are relaxing in their rocking chair while Eustace reads the Nowhere news. Courage discovers a puddle outside their farmhouse, showing the reflection of a seductive sea demon beckoning them to enter the puddle. Courage knows something is wrong, so he goes back inside the house to warn Muriel, but she does not understand what Courage is talking about. Meanwhile, the Black Puddle Queen enchants Eustace to follow her whenever he is near a water source. At night, the demon captures Eustace and carries him to the Black Puddle with her. Courage sees everything, but he is helpless and cannot save Eustace from her alluring charm. The next day, Muriel is upset that Eustace is gone, and Courage tries to find different ways to uplift her mood, but all are in vain. Courage ultimately decided to enter the puddle to save Eustace from the Sea Demon Queen himself. The transformation of the seductive sea demon to a scary monster to eat Eustace is really terrifying. She has used a similar charm to bring more victims in the past, as the episode illustrates the mountain of skeletons near her sea castle. The episode has shown some unnerving sound effects, such as the Queen's eerie, whispery voice, which manipulates and controls Eustace in her bidding. Throughout the episode, we see Courage trying his best to keep the bags safe from the dark, alluring charm of the Queen, but he is helpless and vulnerable as none of them understand him. Courage stated how he goes through all that trouble to bring Eustace safe out of the love for his family. This unsettling episode is telecasted in Season 1, Episode 17, right after the Gods Must Be Goosey episode. Freaky Fred. The Freaky episode comes right after the Demon in the Mattress episode. This is part of the first season, written by David Stephen Cohen. The episode begins with showing a new character, Fred, on a bus, traveling to nowhere to visit his Aunt Muriel. When Fred arrives at Bag Farmhouse, Courage already imagines the worst possible scenario. Fred seems like a polite person with a British accent, but in appearance, he gives a pretty unstable vibe with that all-teeth smile. When Courage sits behind him, he notices the tag that says, "Home for Freaky Barbers." His suspicions stand true when Courage and Fred get locked up together in the bathroom, and Fred takes out an electric razor to shave away all the fur from Courage. He reminisces about the times he shaved off all the hair from his client's head, which made him very happy. Through Fred's narration, we understand his compulsion to cut hair, and he is surely messed up in the head. As a kid, this for sure terrified me about visiting the barbershop. We can all assume that Fred's compulsion to shave off the client's hair completely led him to get admitted to the mental asylum, home for freaky barbers. When Courage is finally able to call the asylum helpline, his fur has been completely shaved, with only his tail left. The most creepy part of this episode is definitely Fred's menacing grin, which stays in the viewers' minds even after the episode ends and the credits roll in. Heads of Beef. The Heads of Beef episode is another episode that might seem innocent at first, but it has a double innuendo. The episode appears in Season 1, Episode 21, right after The Precious, Wonderful, Adorable, Lovable Duckling. The episode begins with the family in the living room, and Muriel is sick and lying on the sofa. To satisfy his hunger, Eustace goes out with Courage to find something to eat. On the road, they come across a board that advertises burgers at cheap rates. Excited, Eustace drives to the burger joint, but Courage feels something is fishy about it. The unnerving music sets the tone for the episode, making things more terrifying. Courage finds the face of the customer beside them in his burger, which scares the crap out of him. He goes to the basement to see what the uneasiness is all about. Courage is already terrified of what he might discover, making matters even worse. He assumes that the owner's wife is eating the heads of customers who have come to eat their burgers as he sees them in the shadows. The episode definitely gives you second thoughts about eating or ordering from outside. The double meaning of cannibalism mentioned in eating will surely give nightmares to anyone who watches the episode. Even though it was a misunderstanding from Courage's side, the horrific imagery of cannibalism remains in one's mind even after the episode ends. House of Discontent. The next episode we will discuss is not that scary, but the image gives you the heebie-jeebies. The House of Discontent episode appears in Season 2, Episode 12, and the episode's significance goes beyond what is shown. The episode shows the Bag family trying to grow a plant near their house. Together, they read a prayer that asks the harvest moon to bless the plant with life. Sadly, the flower remains dead in the ground. This angers Eustace, and he complains about how nothing grows on their farm and how nothing will ever grow, putting all the blame on the soil. Before going inside their house, he stamped on the flower ruthlessly. This angered the harvest moon, and the Bag family faced the consequences of angering him, like when all the items in the kitchen started behaving strangely and attacked Muriel while she was doing the dishes. Courage saves Muriel by using the truck to break through the wall. When the whole house gets flooded because of the spirit's anger, the Bag family lands in the basement, where they see the giant white face with pitch-black eyes of the spirit. The spirit of the harvest tells them to leave the land as they don't respect the land and cannot grow anything on it. The Bag family is given the ultimatum till midnight to prove they can grow something or must leave the farm. Eustace is stubborn. He does not accept defeat and denies leaving. Meanwhile, scaredy Courage does everything in his power to grow the plant. This episode teaches us how important respecting nature is, and this is learned the hard way through the scary giant, pale spirit head with wrinkles and pitch-black eyes. Everyone wants to direct. After the Queen of the Black Puddle episode, Season 1 brings another creepy episode, Everyone Wants to Direct, written by Craig Sherman, and brings two new antagonists. The episode centers around a well-known movie director, Brenton Tarantella, who wants to make a zombie movie in Bag's farmland as the location is perfect for shooting. Muriel and Eustace agree and even sign a contract, believing they will be paid a huge amount. With hopes of becoming famous, both of them fail to notice Benton's appearance, which is a zombie, and his limbs keep falling off when they don't pay attention. This is seen by Courage, who tries to alert them, but they miss it. Courage tries to find information on the director. He discovers Benton and his accomplice, Errol von Volkheim, are serial killers who use disguises as movie directors to lure their victims. They were both arrested for their crimes. Benton died in jail, and Volkheim was released for his good behavior, but died after some time. The twist in the episode is the burial of Volkheim, which is underneath the Bag basement. Benton's ultimate goal is to resurrect his old friend, and the script contains information about the resurrection ritual. Courage saves his family after making some changes in the script. The zombies in the episode have a very creepy design. The episode explores the dangers of ambition and desire for fame, easily making someone a victim of manipulation. The Mask. The Mask episode is one of the most strange and dark episodes telecasted in Season 4, Episode 7, where a mysterious woman in a beautiful porcelain mask comes to Bag Farm. On seeing Courage, she tries different ways to kill our scaredy dog. While attacking Courage, she keeps repeating the words, "All dogs are evil." During lunch, it is revealed that the masked lady's name is Kitty, and she talks about her best friend, Bunny, who was in an abusive relationship with a gangster boyfriend, Mad Dog. Kitty misses her best friend and has been traveling to different places while grieving that she might never see her again. Ultimately, Courage finds a way to ensure Kitty doesn't hurt other dogs. He defeats the Mad Dog, who is holding Bunny hostage, and reunites Kitty with Bunny. Kitty, in the end, realizes not all dogs are evil. The episode has masterfully depicted how people can hide their true nature behind a facade, just like Kitty, who hides her real intention behind the beautiful porcelain mask. The true nature, feelings, or emotions appear when the mask is lifted. The mask symbolizes repressing emotions and bringing forth harmful influences on others. The Great Fusilli. This episode appeared in the final episode out of all 26 episodes of Season 1, which was televised in 2000. The episode brings to the viewers a new, mysterious but charming alligator puppeteer, the Great Fusilli, who comes to Bag Farm on a truck with a stage set up on it. Fusilli offers the Bag family a role in his play and the chance to become rich. Even Courage is not suspicious of this mysterious character and participates in the play. Gradually, Fusilli's puppet comes to life. He uses this puppet to manipulate the Bag family. Courage saves himself from the clutches of Fusilli, but Muriel and Eustace become lifeless puppets. Courage defeats Fusilli in the same way the alligator transforms real people into puppets through the spotlight on his stage. Unfortunately, Muriel and Eustace remain frozen as puppets, and the season ends with Courage performing all the daily activities in their house while his loved ones remain hollow puppets. This episode brings out the terrifying feeling of losing yourself to something you can't control. The episode reminds us that our darkest fears can be exploited and manipulated. A Night at the Cat's Motel. The Night at the Cat's Motel is the show's first episode, introducing Katz as the villain who will be reprised in other episodes. Katz runs a creepy, rundown establishment called the Cat's Motel, where the Bags will stay for the night. However, the motel does not allow dogs, so Eustace ties the dog outside the motel. The episode shows Katz keeping various types of spiders who feed on humans in a private room. Katz himself is sinister. When Courage runs into a dead end, Katz wants to settle things down with a game of squash, but he draws the game for so long that Courage ultimately gets tired and loses. Katz uses this moment to unleash another human-eating spider on Courage. At the end of the episode, Muriel saves Courage by smashing a squash bat on Katz and leaves the motel because it has stinky service. The episode warns us that we should always be cautious and doubtful of isolated surroundings, as we don't know what might lurk in the darkness or, in this case, the private rooms. Perfect. The episode Perfect is an unsettling, dark episode whose meaning goes deeper if carefully watched. The episode appears in Season 4 and is the final episode of the whole series. The episode revolves around how Courage tries to help the Bags as much as possible, but he is never able to do anything right. When Courage is upset about the whole scenario, a strange, mysterious, old-school teacher named the Perfectionist appears at Bag Farmhouse, who is only visible to Courage. The Perfectionist knows about Courage's struggles and decides to give strict lessons and training to make him the perfect dog. He goes through several perfect lessons, and when it is time to sleep, Courage gets nightmares about his imperfections. In the end, Courage realizes that nothing is always perfect, and everybody has flaws, even his owners, after which the Perfectionist teacher melts to death in the background. Our flaws can indeed hurt the people we love, but harming oneself to be perfect has more dire effects. Imperfections make people unique, which is the lesson this episode imparts to us. Whether kids or adults, there is always pressure to do things as perfectly as possible. But that perfection takes a toll on our body, mind, and health, unknowingly or knowingly. So we must accept ourselves just the way we are and be happy. Courage in the Big Stinkin' City. Courage in the Big Stinkin' City is televised in Season 2's second episode, and if you're not a fan of cockroaches, then be wary. The Bags travel to New York City as Muriel is set for a performance at Radio City Music Hall, which she won at a sitar contest. While entering the music hall, they are intercepted by a human-sized cockroach named Schwick, who claims to be a stagehand. Schwick sends the scaredy dog to find a mysterious package, which brings Courage to an apartment. Each apartment door has a terrifying monster behind it, like a shark or King Ghidorah. But the underrated and most frightening monster is a little girl playing the violin, but she has a demonic face so she can continue practicing music uninterrupted. But at least in the end, the pretending stagehand is caught and taken into custody by the police officers for being a wanted criminal. Before the credit rolls, Muriel is seen giving an amazing performance and receives huge applause from the audience, with Eustace almost eaten by the unseen monster living behind his skeleton in the rehearsal room. Overall, the episode has many jump scares that will surely give you sleepless nights, making the episode truly terrifying. The Quilt Club. The Quilt Club is another darker and more creepy episode compared to other episodes televised in Season 3. Muriel and Courage visit a handicraft store that specializes in quilting. This craft intrigued Muriel a lot. She wanted to join the Quilt Club, which is run by the conjoined twin sisters Elisa and Eliza Stitch, to run the antique shop. The twins' appearance can be compared to Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family. Initially, they They seem very harmless, but slowly the sinister nature is revealed, how they entice women to join their club, and later they stitch their bodies to the quilt, which traps their souls forever. Muriel is also falling for their trap. She forgets all her household chores, even Courage and her husband, as she gets busy making the perfect quilt, which will get her accepted into the exclusive quilt club. As adults, we can see how quilt and cult sound similar in the episode's context. In a cult, you follow the rules to fit into their culture, just like Muriel, who devotes most of her time stitching the quilt that will make her fit into the quilt club. The episode becomes more uneasy because of dark graphics showcasing stormy skies, matching the episode's dark setting when it's unusually bright and nowhere. Windmill Vandals. The Windmill Vandals appear in Season 4, where we see, for the first time, all the members of the Bag family together resolve the issue. The Vandals are horseback vandals who used to terrorize the land of Nowhere 250 years ago. The four of them were the first to build and live in the farmhouse that the Bags currently occupy. 250 years ago, a farmer sparked the wrath of the Vandals by building a windmill and, to protect themselves, engraved mystical symbols on the windmill's blades, which protected them from the attacks of the Vandals. The windmill has stopped working, and the Viking-like Vandals are back to exact their revenge. Courage must repair the mill before their home is destroyed. Muriel, Eustace, and Courage manage to repair the windmill together whenever the Vandals' chaos is at bay. The scary thing about these Viking characters is their obsession with beheading their victims, which makes this episode of the entire series way more gruesome and gory. The episode is influenced by the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, which the directors have not confirmed. Car Broke, Phone Yes. The Car Broke, Phone Yes episode was written by David Stephen Cohen and appeared in Season 2's episode 10. A strange object from space crashes near Bag Farmhouse, and a weird figure wearing a hat and coat tells Muriel and Courage that his car has broken and he needs to use the phone. When he enters the house, he calls no one, which seems strange to Courage, and he keeps being wary of the visitor. The visitor is an alien who uses long tentacles to remove people's emotions through their nostrils. He took Muriel's kindness away, which made her cranky like Eustace, and stored it in a test tube. Without kindness, Muriel makes Courage's life a living hell. Courage can retrieve the test tube from the alien and give back Muriel's kindness. This episode is sad and scary as the creepy alien subjects Muriel to suffering, which she does not deserve. Unknowingly, without her kindness, Muriel hits her dog, which she loves so dearly, and it will have a terrible impact on her. The Clutching Foot. The Clutching Foot episode appears after King Ramses' Curse episode in Season 1. In this episode, a group of fungi consumes Eustace's body, starting with his foot. The fungal gangster is also able to take Muriel hostage as well. The episode turns disturbing and gross when Eustace turns into a giant foot. The giant fungal foot takes advantage of Courage's vulnerability as he does their bidding so they don't harm Muriel. The foot tries to make Courage rob banks or trains, but they are all unsuccessful due to efforts by Courage. With the help of his computer, Courage tries to find the cure for the fungus, which, to Courage's disgust, is the dog's saliva. Courage starts using his saliva on the foot, which begins to shrink, and by morning, the giant fungal foot is gone, and Eustace is cured. Everything returns to normal with Courage aggressively brushing and flossing his teeth. Nonetheless, an important lesson from this episode that everyone should pay attention to is taking care of personal hygiene so that fungus does not turn your foot into a gross-looking terror. Night of the Weremole. The Night of the Weremole, presented in Season 1's Episode 5, is inspired by normal werewolf stories. Generally, a werewolf bite transforms a victim into a werewolf in the next full moon. Similarly, while Muriel is tending her garden, she thinks a rabbit is approaching her, but it's a weremole that hides in the burrow nearest to Muriel. When feeding the weremole a carrot through the tunnel, the weremole bites Muriel. She is taken to the hospital, but the doctor says not to worry about it, and it can be treated just by soaking it. The episode takes a freaky turn when Muriel transforms into a beast-like monster and attacks the doctor who comes to check up on her. Muriel even attacks Eustace, but through Courage's efforts, they bring Muriel back to her original state. There is nothing much scarier about the episode except Muriel's transformation, which might terrify people as it is unexpected from their favored character. The Shadow of Courage. The Shadow of Courage is the second episode from Season 1, where an affluent miser is found dead in his observatory, which releases his mischievous shadow. The Shadow plays pranks on the residents of Nowhere. When the Shadow reaches the Bag farmhouse, it relentlessly scares the family throughout the night. Even Eustace gets scared and seeks refuge in his dusty truck. When Courage has enough of this terror, he engages in a conversation with the Shadow. The Shadow reveals his true aspiration is to become the shadow of a star. When suggested and motivated by Courage, the show follows the steps to become the shadow of celestial stars. In the initial episode, the Shadow seems frightening and violent, creating nightmares that depict Muriel's harm. But the Shadow's violent, aggressive nature stems from misunderstanding. He is not an inherent evil, it's the situation that made him one. That is, a very common mistake made amongst antagonists. Evil Weevil. Season 2's episode 11 brings the Evil Weevil episode that showcases Eustace carelessly running over a giant weevil with his truck when he was not paying attention. With pure intentions, Muriel invites the insect to stay at Bag Farmhouse and re-heal itself. Little does she know that she has invited a blood-sucking parasite into their home. Weevil sucks all the blood from Eustace and Muriel whenever he gets the opportunity, leaving them tired and skinny slowly, day by day. When Courage finally catches Weevil in his act, he attaches the Weevil's proboscis to the insect's stomach, because of which the Weevil drinks his blood and shrinks in size to a tiny bug, easily squishable. Muriel slowly heals herself and returns to health with Courage's help. The episode highlights how we should think twice before helping a stranger, as they might mean our well-being rather than cause more harm to us. Angry, Nasty People. Season 3's episode 10 follows the Angry, Nasty People, where the movie director Benton Tarantella reprises again with another chance to stardom. Benton Tarantella is a zombie who, when alive, was a serial killer and lured his victims in disguise as a movie director. In the previous episode, Eustace and Muriel did not know Benton's real identity. Benton comes again to the Bag family to create a TV show that revolves around them named The Angry, Nasty People. The show will include their daily mean and rotten exchanges with each other. Their movie sells well, and even the franchise becomes popular. The show concludes when the producer drowns in quicksand by Courage. The freaky part in this episode is the bewitching Benton does on Muriel and Eustace with shallow promises of fame, money, and stardom. It's a technique Benton used before, which got the Bags nothing in return. Marvelous Verdict. The show is a roller coaster ride of scary, terrifying, gory, and disturbing graphics that make one cringe while watching the show. The one thing that never changes is Courage's utmost devotion and loyalty to save Muriel and Eustace in the face of danger. Things he does for love are seen throughout the series. The series also teaches us important life lessons that shape us as children, even though, at the beginning, I mentioned Courage's name as ironic, as he gets spooked very, very easily. However, at the end of each episode, no matter how scared he used to be, he would still face the terrifying demons or monsters head-on for his family. So that's definitely courageous of him. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe out there. Thanks, everyone.